Martin Luther King said, the love of God operating through the human heart. Reverend Lee Wallach says, the awareness and acceptance of our wholeness. For me, that's the definition of love that I've embodied. The awareness and acceptance of our wholeness, starting with us, moving on to others, and to life. You see, love is not about how you feel. Love is about your relationship to yourself, to others, and to life. At Agape, we teach practical spirituality. We teach two basic things: meditation and the science of mind. Science of mind is the process of how to use the mind to create your life. And we're in a process right now where we're going through some of the basics. And so we're going to continue that today. But before I get into the talking and give you some ideas that you might want to consider and use in your life, let's go into a little short meditation to get ourselves centered. So I invite you to simply come to a comfortable seated upright position with your back straight, hands gently resting on your lap. Bring all of your awareness to your breath. And as you're consciously breathing in, realize that you are not this body. Notice the sensations that are moving through your body. They're not who you are. You are the observer of the sensations. Notice all the thoughts moving through your mind. Notice that you are not the thoughts, but you are the observer of the thoughts. Who you are is not just your physical. It's not just your mental. You are awareness. You are an aspect of infinite consciousness, individualized, unique, whole, and perfect. And that point of consciousness and that awareness has a body, has a mind, is constantly reshaping, rebuilding that body, and it's also creating your experience. So we simply come into this beautiful meditative state to unplug from the illusion that we are the body and mind, and to embrace that we have a body and mind that we use to create our life experience. And so with this sense of redefining the essence of who we are, and knowing that the body and mind are there to serve, we now embrace a new relationship with life. And we see life differently. And we come out of the illusion of the body and the illusion of the mind into the reality of the soul, into the reality of consciousness. And we now take back our power as we recreate and continue to create our life experience. So now, gently, start to bring yourself back to this time, to this day, to this body, to this moment. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Today, I'm going to continue my talk series, The Basic Principles of Science of Mind. We started with oneness, that there's only one. It is infinite, it is all-knowing, it is everywhere present, it created everything out of itself, and you and I are points of consciousness within that. In week 2, we went on to the power of thought and understood through a deeper analysis about how our thoughts create. Today, I want to talk to you about the creative process. So again, let's reflect back on what is this study of science of mind? What is it? Science of mind is a philosophy that combines spiritual principles with the insights of science and the opinions of philosophy to provide a comprehensive understanding of life and the human experience. You see, the more we understand what life is, the more we understand what the human experience is, the more we understand practical tools, we become the power, we become the creator, we become the observer while being the observed. And so let's talk about this idea of creation. Creation is the infinite or spirit making something out of itself by becoming the thing it creates. That's real important to understand, because when you go back to the idea of oneness, that there is only one consciousness that's individualized itself, and that you and I are that individualization, we realize that it, spirit, creative intelligence, created everything out of itself. And the only thing it could do was to take itself and become the thing it created. So when we start to understand that, we realize we are spirit. We are stardust. Everything is created out of the same thing. So creation is the infinite becoming the thing it creates. Ernest Holmes said this: creation means the passing of substance into form through a law which is set in motion by the word of spirit. So Ernest Holmes really clearly got that the creative process is eternal. And it's the process of the infinite taking form through a law that is always responding. And it's responding to the word of spirit. It's responding to the thought atmosphere. It's responding to our thoughts. What we speak, think about, hold in consciousness most becomes our creation. When you break it down to a linear fashion, what it basically says is, since we are all microcosms of spirit, the same creative law works through us. So spirit, being the macrocosm of life, created microcosms of itself, which we are, and the power that spirit used, the creative law that it used, is also the creative law that is working through us, because we're never separate from spirit. We're always a part of it. We have the illusion that we're separate. But the fact of the matter is, we cannot separate. A drop of water in the ocean is a drop or a microcosm of the ocean, which is a macrocosm. All of the characteristics of that drop of water in the ocean are characteristics of the ocean. You cannot separate the characteristics of the ocean from the drop of water. Consciousness, infinite consciousness, is the ocean. Point of consciousness is who we are. We are the drop of water. And so we have the power of the ocean, the qualities of the ocean, of consciousness within us. So how does the creative process works? If you look at the diagram in front of you, or if you're listening, the diagram basically says thought moving into the law, the creative law, moves from there into form. So our thought atmosphere enters into what we call the creative law and that takes it and moves it into form. A simpler way of understanding that is that thought represents a seed. When you take an apple seed and you plant it in soil, it will produce an apple tree. Now, you've got to take the seed. You choose the seed. You've chosen an apple seed. You put it into the soil. You clear out the weeds because those weeds can choke the seed. You clear and you water the soil. You put nourishment into the soil. But what you don't do is you don't dig up the seed. You don't plant a ton of other types of seeds on top of where you planted the apple seed. But you allow sunshine. You didn't plant it in the shade. You allow sunshine and water and the nutrition, and you leave it alone, and it will grow an apple tree. What you don't go is you don't go checking on it and digging it up all the time, because now you've stopped the creative process. So seed, soil, and plant is an analogy for thought, law, and form. It's not a single thought that we plant, but it is a collective of thoughts. Let me make this differently. We plant a belief. A belief is a group of thoughts held toward a specific result persistently and consistently, consciously and unconsciously. So we take that belief, we allow it to sit within the creative soil, which is the universal law. We hold it there. We believe it. We align our actions and our feelings with that mental atmosphere, that mental seed we planted. And then, in the appropriate, perfect amount of time, Spirit creates into form that which we've held in consciousness. So the creative process always works. It doesn't work when we're not following the logical progression. We're digging up the seed. We're not holding on to that image of thought. So many people, here's an example of that. So many people create an image of a healthy body come January 1. And let's use the aspect they go to the gym. And they go 3 days a week for 2 weeks. And then they go 2 days a week for 2 weeks. Then they go 1 day a week for 2 weeks. And they stop going. They stop the creative process. The idea is, and I was asked this the other day in the gym, how is it at your age you're as fit as you are? I go to the gym 4 to 5 times every week. I've been doing it for over 50 years. I understand that the exercise I do, combined with my eating choices, combined with my meditation practice of reducing stress, allows me to live a lifestyle of a man 50 years younger. I use the creative process. I've committed myself to the creative process of keeping and maintaining a healthy and vibrant body. Ernest Holmes said this: whatever is held in consciousness, until it becomes a part of the subjective side of thought, must take place in the world of affairs. In other words, we have to hold our mental image in consciousness until the universal law takes and becomes the master of this thought and creates from it. And then it creates it into the world of affairs. That's the life we see, the 3D world that's all around it. See, our thoughts become subjected to the word, subjected to the power of creation. Everything we think becomes part of our mental atmosphere that we create. The reason that we do not demonstrate more easily is that the objective state of our thought is too often neutralized by the subjective state. I've said a mouthful there, so I want to give you a clear example of it. And I think this is one way. So when we start thinking about the idea that Ernest talked about there, about that the subjective state neutralizes our objective state. Objective is what we're consciously desiring to have. The subjective state is what is the general makeup of our mind. And so when we look at it from this standpoint, the fear of sickness, which is the subjective state. We've got a fear of sickness that who knows why we got it. We watched our mom get sick, our brother get sick, our sister get sick, our dad get sick, our grandmother get sick. So we have a fear of sickness. When that subjective fear is greater than the belief in health, which is what we choose, the fear of sickness wins. It's only when the desire and the objective fact of living a healthy relationship, a healthy body relationship, is greater than the fear of sickness that we develop a healthy form. And that's really difficult. It's difficult to hold the objective of health when you're suffering an illness. I go back to the time when I had COVID. And when I had COVID, for me, COVID demonstrated as a really, really, really painful sore throat. And it was difficult for me to be objective. It was difficult for me to know health. What I did, though, is I called my prayer partners to know it for me. I called my wife to hold the consciousness of the objective. And I did it to the best that I could. And then I healed. I knew I would heal, but I didn't think I could heal as fast as I wanted to. So my fear had an impact on my healing. Fear has an impact on everything, whether it's your health, your wealth, your relationships, your career, your connection to spirit, your sense of oneness, your joy of life. It's all there. Fear is the thing that holds us back from using and allowing the creative process to work effectively through us. Any suggestion held in the creative mind will produce its logical result no matter what the suggestion. And you're wondering, what are you saying, Lee? You can hold a suggestion that you will be homeless if you hold it long enough, and fear is a great emotion that backs it. The law will produce homelessness. The law just doesn't produce what we would label as good. It also produces what we label as bad. The creative process can work for us if we direct it, or it can work against us if we don't direct it. And when I say work against us, it gives us what we don't want. That's really the big thing to understand. Are you focusing on abundance, or are you focusing on lack? Are you focusing on disease, or are you focusing on health? Are you focusing that relationships are difficult? Are you focusing that they're easy? Are you focusing that relationships are painful? Are you focusing on relationships can bring joy and expansion? Any suggestion held, that's the key word there, held in the creative mind will produce a logical result. The law will act upon that which is held. The key thing happens here is your life always reflects the choices you make. Every day you are giving choices. Throughout the day, what you choose will reflect in your life. The key thing is, do you choose consciously? Your power to use the creative power is your level of awareness. your ability to choose consciously. And that power exists within you. So for this next week, I'm inviting you to test this and to make some conscious choices. Hold them and see how they demonstrate in your life. Make it a great week. Better yet, choose to make it a great week. I promise it will demonstrate as you and through you. I'm so grateful that you joined me today. If this message served you, go to agapespiritualcenter.com and look at the other ways that you can plug in. We've got classes about to start in 2 weeks. They're all on Zoom. You could be a part of that. We've got a walking meditation that we're going to be doing with Dr. Joe Dispenza with people all over the world. No matter where you are, you could be a part of that. We've also got all sorts of other things. Meditation every morning, talks every single day. All of that is available to you at agapespiritualcenter.com. And if you feel that this message is benefiting you and you would like to support us as we bring it to more and more and more people, make a donation. Become an automated giver. Give. Because what you're saying to the universe is, I receive value, I give value back. I promise it will not let you down. I've proven that over and over to myself. So with that, I want to thank you, because if you've been listening all this time, you've given your time, which is your most precious gift, and I'm honored and blessed. I'll ask you this. Share the message. Send it out on your social media channels. Let other people receive it. You never know how we can change a life. Hey, and let you and I do it together. We're more powerful when we work as one. Until next week, mahalo.